Okay, I want to walk you through a couple of options, and really they're not exclusive. You can mix and match these things, but I want to make some points. So say you got your money site or your money page where you're trying to get people to, and let's say you've done everything on it that you can and will for on-page SEO. Either you've done a lot or a little or none. Maybe you'll do more later. It doesn't really matter what the order of events is, whether you do on-site SEO first and then off-site SEO next, or the other way around. Okay, whatever order you do it in, as long as you get it all done. Now, let's take a look at a couple of options here. One is this, and no one's saying go in a rush, right? You can schedule this out no matter what we're doing. But I want to make this point. So let's say on the one hand, you're going and getting backlinks from directories. You're getting listings to your website and directories. Some will be follow, some will be no follow. Maybe most will be no follow, but that's perfectly okay. It's very normal activity on the internet. Showing up in directories, that's a good thing. However, it's, you got to be picky and exclusive as best you can for the pages you try to land on, or else you're just a blank listing. You can put a lot of time into this, creating accounts for different directories and listing yourself. You've got to do it well. Okay, another one, citation. This is where you're intentionally getting your name, address, phone combination out there, right? And that's another thing you can do. And again, it's a question of how well you do it. I've seen lots and lots of citation listings on websites that had no scores, no power. So people are putting up these citations on websites that have been like copied over and over and over again just to be there for citations, so that someone can sell a service and say, I'll put you in 100 different citation listings. And really it's one website they created. They created 100 domains, and they put the same thing up with different colors on all 100 domains, and they're identical. Okay. And it makes it really easy for the guy to do the job he said he would do, but it's not going to do you any good. So you've got to, again, be picky. Get yourself into reasonable citations. Social media posts is another thing you can do. Now, do you have to do social media? No. The advantage to social media is you're putting something new out every so often where you're mentioning your site. And that's good as long as you're consistent, because the effect won't last long. It's a roller coaster ride. You'll get a bit of a bang, then it'll drop. You got to do another one, then it'll drop. Do another one, then it'll drop. That's time, right? If you went and listed yourself in directories and then walked away and never listed yourself in another one, you're also going to see that drop, right? Same with citations, same with social media posts, same with everything. The idea is you have to stay fresh somehow. You're creating more content on your site or off your site, but you want to go back and forth from time to time. You definitely want to get more backlinks going to you from time to time. Now, forum comments and miscellaneous, same sort of thing. You could get yourself into some forum signature links. You could get your name, website in there, or comment on some WordPress blogs, or who knows what. There's all these different ways to get a link out there, Now, there's all these other options too. You can do press releases, help a reporter out, all these different things. But that could be miscellaneous. Okay. This is one way to build up the power of your site and get yourself to start ranking. This is where you would go out of your way and say, instead of 100 sources like this, which is going to take me a lot of time but not a lot of cost, I would rather spend a little more money and build this up. And again, you can do this in stages. But if you do, what's the advantage of an expired domain? Okay, if we're choosing halfway decent expired domains, each one of these already has some of this done and some of that done and some of that done and some of that done. You get it? Not necessarily and, maybe just some of that done. But that's just it. When we pick expired domains, we pick expired domains that certainly add to the value and are worth getting because we're intending to. All right, so any one of these can already have gotten you a jump on a lot of this, okay? That one too. Maybe that one just did a bunch of these once, but it kicked it out of the sandbox. So there's some value there. What about this? Well, maybe there's a bunch of these going on there and a couple of these. There's all these things that could matter, right? And so what do you do with these expired domains? Because yes, they add up to having a whole lot more power than these, since these are a combination of these being done up to 100 times each, several times each anyway. That's the idea, is that we're picking ones that have good scores, right? We get to look at the scores and say that's enough. that means enough. Okay, as long as the scores are good, we're happy. Or we can buy with low scores, disavow to regain old scores that were better. It's a cheaper way to go and still get the juice back out of that orange. All right. Having said that, doing this is inherently better than going after this. And you might wonder, does Google see this as a real problem? Not really, because websites pointing in at your site are so many different kinds. For instance, if you ask Google, do I have to do social media posting to my site? Google say no. Absolutely not. It's just one way to get more content out there every so often. Okay. Well, citations are interesting because they're for other business listings, but you can still do things with expired domains even that have other people's citations. Directory listings are great because it's already done under other people's efforts. Time, money went into them doing this kind of thing instead of you having to. It gives you a huge boost, right? Because wherever you're ranking now, as you start to add one or another of these things to this, you're going to boost and boost and boost, right? It's huge. Now, is it wise to do some of this and some of this and some of this and some of this and maybe some of that? Yeah. Sure, because it looks very natural to Google, right? So if as you're building, you're not quite seeing yourself bust upward, I mean, every time you add a new one, it's a whole horse of a different color, right? But if you just want to take a shortcut and say, let me just double check something real quick, I'm going to do this real quick, just so it looks natural and see if that does the job. If not, let me at least get like 3 directory listings in my city or industry, right? Whether it's a vertical or horizontal directory, right? Like location-based, all industries, or one industry nationwide, and you're just getting yourself in there, right? Maybe I'll just throw some citations on my site, no matter what I do. Okay, having said that, this is really, really cool. This will do 99% of all the backlinking power for you, if not 100%. Really just depends. And time will tell whether you should also throw something else in or not, okay? Just to round it out, make Google think, yeah, that looks totally normal because, they're using their algorithms, right? Now, here's the point I want to make. There are 3 ways to do expired domains to your website. Each standalone. Of course, you can mix and match some of this. What are the ways? Way number 1, you buy expired domains and 301 redirect them to here, and that is it. That's quick and easy and can transfer a lot of juice to your website. It doesn't mean that the visitors who are coming through here are going to be happy with your website. They might be coming through, keyword links or something that are out there, land here and go, what's this? And so it's not necessarily the direct human benefit. You might get some bounce effect out of that and some correction that comes out of that. That's okay. That stuff happens. No one can control all the backlinks they've ever had in the past. And so there will always be correction. Google will work with you. Okay. But what's the problem with that? Google sees that as a gimmick if it's done too much. If I actually bought 100 domains and simply 301 redirected them to here, Google would say that's a trick, right? Google wouldn't like that at all. Also because it adds no benefit. I just simply took a ton of expired domains and pointed them at my website, and that was it. No benefit added. Okay, what is the second way to do it? I make a website on each of these. A real, honest-to-God, valuable, worth reading, worthwhile website. It could be information-based websites. Some people would say, I'm scared about having my company represented on tons of websites, although you shouldn't be, because it's perfectly legitimate to do. But if you just try to picture the front page of Google and you keep seeing your company name and your phone number over and over again, first, you're seeing it wrong. That's not what you're supposed to do. But if you're supposed to make these seem like they have their own entities as resellers for you or affiliates for you, and that's the way to understand that. Or fans of yours, okay, or co-partners, right? Other people helping the plan, whatever it is. But if you create independent actual websites on here, that are decent, that are adding value, Google no longer has this "that's a trick" argument. They don't get to. You build up a bunch of different domains, or your group did, or the rest of the world did. Google doesn't even necessarily know or care. They're not caring about who you are. They're caring about the value of the user experience in each case. Okay, so could you take a few of these and point them at your site, and then a few more and build them out? And then put your ads in them, pointed at your site? Yeah. And if you no follow those ads, you're actually telling Google, hey, I'm going to say no follow on these because they're ads. You know, I could label them sponsored. What will Google do? They will decide how much value to give based on the correlation between your ads and the materials on the site. You'll get a score in each case, and it will be a rising score as you keep adding more links to you on more sites, even if it's primarily no follow. Sometimes you want to intentionally get some follows in there, right? Because Google expects that. That's natural. Okay. By the way, Yellow Pages no follows all the links leaving their site, except for guys who pay for ads in Yellow Pages. And I think they might even no follow most of those unless they pay for a high enough package. Most directories will no follow you. Most citations will no follow you. Social media posts is kind of up to you, so I don't think it no follows you too often. I don't spend enough time in this world, though. Forums, comments, and miscellaneous, that's a mix and match, right? So you want a bunch of no follows, but some follows, right? Usually more no follow, like a 3-to-2 ratio, 3-to-1, 3-to-2 ratio. Okay, where it's no follows mostly, because that's what the Google expects. That looks like the world. Having said that, if you take all these and you build them all out, and then you send links right to you, again, that's like too much. That could actually wind up striking Google as spam. Okay. What's better? Oh, and no, let me even step back. Let's say it's not a matter of spam. Let's say it's a matter of maybe you went too fast, right? Like if you're doing this, it slows you down. It takes time. You have to create accounts. You have to get in there. You have to make some comments. Forums usually say you got to, make a few posts before you have the right to add your signature links and stuff, or else you have to pay. Comments are just kind of like lost in the thick of things. There's so many comment responses that the juice is just literally sliced into millislices. I mean, you get so little out of it, and with every passing day, as more other people add their comments with their links going to their sites, your juice constantly gets smaller, right? So it's not so powerful. It really isn't. But when you have collections of this kind of work built into these, right, that's the name of the game. These guys are the ones that already got out of the sandbox because they already did some combination of this. Then you're riding on the benefit. So you don't want to just suddenly point all those links at your money site. You could, but it's not a good idea. Google goes too many links at once, right? So then you think, okay, what do I have to do? Drip feed? A few of these and a few of these and, every few days, a few more? Yeah, that's not a bad idea. That will benefit you. But what is a quicker and better way, especially if your message and your ads are really on these sites, right? If you have value here, what is a better way? Take some of these domains, use them to backlink some of the others, which backlinks some of the others, which backlinks some of the others. And you don't have to be exact. You could take these to backlink those, which backlink these. You see what I mean? And keep going through the group. Have those backlink these, which backlink through those. And it's got to be mix and match, deep page backlinking, not all the links going to the front page. And it's got to be keyword matching. So like page 68 on this domain, paragraph 3 has some keywords that are perfect for the menu title, like one of the pages, the browser title, the wording matches, or the article, the whole point of that page right here. Okay, so there should be a link from that one up to that one. The keywords in that paragraph up to that page 27 of this site because it's a match. See that? So what if all the links were done that way? What if it's literally a bunch of links going out and through, but they're always matched. The keywords to the page is going through that entire structure. Google doesn't see your site get 100 links. What do they see? They see the internet working as it should. These sites are starting to pick up links from others. Well, while that's happening totally in parallel and completely unrelated, these sites are starting to pick up links from others. And they don't all link to all. It's not like there will be links from all of these sites to all of these sites that you had in the list. It will be wherever the matches work. So this might link to 3 of those, and that might link to 2 of those, and this might link to all of them. But you get it? There is no exact footprint. Okay, especially because we dial in limitations intentionally. Number of links per page, number of links per site for this kind of activity. But while that's happening, guess what? These operators are getting benefits here from these guys, and these guys are benefiting those guys, and some of these will get skipped. There will be no keyword matches from some of these. Now, if it gets truly skipped, then we're probably going to have a breach in this entire structure. So sooner or later, we'll look at our stats. Since we do this all automatically and we download our details, we'll come up with the details of the matches through the site so that we can just literally get the number and list of backlinking or referring domains pointing in at any given site. And of course, another way to see that is just to use Ahrefs or some other tool to actually download the stats on the domains based on what's happening in Google Search Console and or actually, actual Google listings, index listings, right? So there are several ways to skin this cat, but we can always see on the inside from our own internal reports if there's a breach so that we can deal with it. By the way, is it possible for us to use some of these random sites down here to fill in a breach? Yeah. What about a couple of these to fill in one of those breaches? Yeah. What about some of these to fill in the breach anyway? Yeah. We can make it happen, right? Come up with good combinations and make it happen. Add more pages to the breached sites if they were too thin on content. So, Google doesn't see anything weird. No one site is getting 100 backlinks too fast. One of these sites is going to be getting links from 2 or 3 sites down here, while another one of these sites is getting links from 3 or 4 of these sites down here. While another one of these is getting links from all of them, and another one is getting 1 link from them, right? Another link might not get any, okay? And what happens is that's okay, because then when all these are backlinking up, the ones that got none are still providing juice, and the ones that got a chunk of juice are providing juice too. But guess what? The numbers are gloriously different every single time. There's no footprint. Does that make sense? The bigger the sites, the more fodder for linkable connections, but the wider the spread too. It's not like a bunch of links going to any one page. They're getting spread through the pages of the sites. 2 bits of scoring for that. One is the value of the immediate page. It can rank for its stack of keywords, and especially if we're using table of contents, related cyberlinks, and everything else, it can rank for a bunch of keywords, especially as we add juice to that inner page. While that's happening with all the pages, what was I going to say? Well, yeah, that's the idea, I guess. The two things are going on anyway, and that's adding juice to a bunch of pages. Oh, yeah, well, other pages will have none, which is also part of erasing a footprint. If you created backlinks to every page of every site, you're making a mistake. That's not natural. But if there are random layers of how those combinations go up through the structure, that is natural. And the fact that then we can fill in, we could take the bottom 3 of these, or maybe the next step up, and intentionally link them to these guys, or like these guys, so that it's adding juice to them along with these guys down here adding juice to them, while they're continuing to add juice to these guys who are adding juice to these guys. Does that make sense? So then what? Anytime we get more expired domains, we can just point them in with like random backlinks to any combination of these things, and it'll look perfectly natural to Google. And especially if we're including backlinks to the bottom ones all the time, so we're driving up the strength of the weakest. That way, no one ever stays weak for long. When you guys are getting projects from us, we intentionally find ways, subtly and without harming anyone, to be able to create links upward through sites that were bought before. And then those are benefiting the sites that were bought before, which are benefiting the sites that are bought before, which are benefiting the sites that are bought before. We're really starting to just formalize all this now that all of our tools are built and work and everything's in place. And we can link out to authority sites. We can link to partner sites. We can get backlinks from anywhere. And the more expired domains that we get threaded through the entire projects means the more we took care of this automatically through the structure. Now, if that means that we still, with our money site, have to do a little bit of this, okay. That'll be the final straw that broke the camel's back, and then the traffic can fly up in the air, right? But once everything else is done, then doing any of this last stuff is simple. It takes no time. You're done in a day with 4 or 5 of these listings. 1 from here, 2 from there, a couple from here, 3 or 4 from here maybe, or just 1. And you know what? It might be enough. As long as Google catches on to those pages, as long as they're visible enough that they show up in the index, right? Then Google goes, aha, a new link to you from that forum or directory or citation or social media post. And Google goes, okay, you filled in all the gaps for me. And then pow, you get to shoot up with all the power of all your on-page SEO benefiting you for all those pages. And you're not just doing it on the money site. If you're interlinking through stacks of sites like this, your partner sites, you're increasing the juice constantly up the ladder, right? Constantly. With direct rounds through them, and then also just some sporadic leaps up, so that some of these are just benefiting some of these others, right? And then that way it looks natural, and Google likes that. If it's done right, it looks great, natural. Other people can't see a pattern, and if other people can't see a pattern, it doesn't bother Google. Now, yeah, you might say in the end, well, the pattern is all these things are pointing in my site. And the answer is, yeah, but that's funny, right? Every website's got at least 100 websites pointing into their site. That's not weird. And every one of those sites has some sites pointing in at it, right? It's not like all of these sites actually are pointing at the site. That's the whole point. There's only a few sites pointing at a few sites, which is those sites are pointing at a few sites. Google wants both. Those sites are pointing at a few sites. Did you know that Google doesn't just score where your backlinks come from, the quality of the place that's sending you the juice, but they also score the quality of your associations out? So the fact that we can use related websites, they can be for the same industry, they can be for the same locations, they can be for a broader and broader and broader spectrum of locations. Say you really only need like 5 to 10 of these to compete in a given area, a smaller town, and then this would be smaller towns but a bunch more, and you're going to compete better. But then that's leading to these starting to show up for middle towns, mid-sized towns. And these guys are relatively competitive, but hey, you know what? They're linking through here, which is really competing in more mid-sized towns, which could be linking to here, and these guys are competing for, starting to compete for the larger towns, and then these guys are really starting to be competitive in the larger towns, while these guys get really competitive in the biggest cities, and that really helps these guys start to get competitive in the biggest cities, and that just helps these guys, and that helps you. See the point? And the more people that buy projects, this just keeps going on and on and on and on. And everyone who is at the bottom, they get benefits because we're just going to keep pushing juice through, stacks of pages in the right kind of way, because we got this figured out. We looked up the stats. We know what Google's expecting, what they want. And so it's been a long haul getting to the point where we've got everything covered like this. But we're doing it now. And so you guys really want to get involved. Those of you who don't know where or how to get involved, you want to go to website-installer.com. Why is this loading so slow? Probably because I'm recording. Let's see. Website-installer.com. and go to professional services, right? Because this is like a group effort, co-op, right? In professional services, we have a lot of options. Now, the things most of you guys want that we're really starting to push over the top now that we know how are things like this website flipping club, constant traffic flow, and premium dominance package, all right? These things right here are all the kind of stuff that gets mixed in through here, okay? That benefits everybody. It doesn't matter which you choose. They all get into the mix, right? The more sites you get in play, then as other people get packages, there's some more of your sites that get benefited through that entire structure, okay? And that keeps on going. And that way you don't have to do it manually because it's happening automatically. Those of you who want to play at this level that we're playing at, we make it possible for those of you who helped us build the software up to the point where we can do this, to be able to get in at that highest level and learn how to do everything I'm saying. Right now, while I've been giving out all these latest videos, the guys who have access to this, first of all, they already had videos. They already studied up. They already started launching sites and working with them. But they're also watching these new videos because they can do everything I'm showing. They can do all of it. Everything I've been saying that we can do, they can do. Does that make sense? So getting in at this level is really, really cool. If you can do that, then you can actually start growing your systems at the highest level you want. Now, you might think, well, doesn't everyone want that? And the answer is no. Some guys will say that's not in my wheelhouse. I'm just not the SEO type. I mean, most of what you say kind of goes over my head anyway. I still don't know the difference between an interlink and a backlink. I really don't understand schema. Okay, if this is not the kind of thing that you think you can handle, don't. Let us do it. But that's the point. These we do for you. And yes, for all these things that we've ever been starting, we're launching at this highest level, all the stuff that we're doing, and we're driving it all up. And so we're going to see lots of benefits coming out of that soon. And for those of you who say, I want to be able to do it, this is you get it from us, you do it on your own, except, one, we're always here to answer questions and take care of issues you have rapidly. Okay, so we give you a lot of personal support to make sure you know what you're doing. You should not have any trouble running this thing when you're paying this kind of money. $2,500 a month is a chunk. So, if you're paying $2,500 a month, we are standing by to help you if you have a problem. Having said that, and guess what? The videos have been really helpful. Some of the guys have had some questions, and some guys have done some pretty cool custom things. And so they had questions about that. But otherwise, it's not really a problem. The other thing is we'll take care of images for you on the front ends of your website. Setting up images is easy. We can do that for you for stacks of things, like if you build a bunch of websites for one industry. All right. So we'll take care of image issues for you so that you don't have to worry about how to do it. The other way to go is DALL-E 3 is plugged into the system and makes some pretty darn good images. And so you're able to actually create your own images automatically onto your pages, even if you didn't have any. Okay, just letting you know, all that's available. Professional services, that's where that is. I don't know why it keeps flipping over here. It's suggesting. But there you go. Okay. I think I gave you enough to understand what's going on from all these latest videos. I do remember there's one video I have not done yet. I'll do it. That's for generating images, DALL-E 3, that automatically add their own proper alt code as they embed themselves into the pages automatically. So when that's going on, then yeah, all the images are being created. New, cool, and relate to the page, because guess what we do for the DALL-E 3 imagery? We look at each H2 tag, and it might just say something like, features and benefits. Well, who knows what kind of an image it'll create. It'll be about features and benefits, but that's not enough. So we have the H2 tag also reference the H1 tag for the page. So if the H1 tag is like commercial security systems, features and benefits, now the image is going to jive with the page instead of jar, right? Instead of be a problem, it'll relate. So because we do that, then the images it generates makes sense all the way down the page. The only time that it gets really esoteric is if it doesn't know what the topic's all about. So if it's a new product and GPT really has no experience with it, because it's never been on the internet before, it doesn't recognize it by name or by category, then it creates rather esoteric images anyway. Now, sometimes you want to use real life images, but for most things, it recognizes and it can create a really cool image. For example, what if we were talking about alcohol and drug support groups or something like that, or just divorced people support? You know, it's just whatever we want to make. But take a look. This is a DALL-E 3 image, okay? Now, I don't like it when it puts words in the image, so our prompts say don't use words, don't create words and letters. Sometimes it gets it right, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes we toss a few images out, replace them with others, because it'll get a bad one in every so often in the batch, but it's okay. We can throw them out, replace them. But take a look at the general image, right? I mean, can you believe this? This is really high quality. It's nice. It makes the point. By the way, images that deal with things like accidents, like getting in a car accident or a medical emergency or people who are on drugs, usually you don't want real images on the pages. Not many. I mean, you might on the main page because it sets the tone, but when you're just talking about topics, you want to encourage people. You want to present the concept without just showing somebody going through withdrawal, right? So or somebody falling off a ladder and getting hurt and they broke their leg. GPT-4 is really good about not making those gory or disgusting, right? But you can still tell what's going on. And so because of that, it's very nice for a lot of conditions when you're writing, because it can create something that's an ideal without shocking people, right? So that's very cool. But you can do anything. You can have it do photorealistic imagery of clean new carpet and houses, or house paint, interior home painting, exterior home painting, roofing, anything like that. And it'll create really good images these days. It's absolutely fun to watch. All right, I think I made the point. I'll let you go study the options and see what you find interesting for the projects you want. Just word to the wise, this is for people who don't have something of their own that they're selling. They just want to invest in. This is for somebody that has something of their own that they're selling, or you want to back somebody else up because you're going to be the super affiliate for them. This is going all out on some industry or whatever in an area. Best for like selling leads and harnessing the most leads possible in an area, or even nationwide. And it just depends on what you're after. And so this is basically just a version of 10 of either these or these, depending on what you're trying to do. Okay? And it can be worked either way. This can be worked this way or this way. All right? So now that you understand kind of what's going on, and these we do for you, and this down here you do. Okay? Give me a call if you got questions, as always. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting you guys in. We're at this incredible level where we're taking off now with all the power in the world to outdo all of our competitors. We have more automation than anyone, and we have better sites than anyone, and we have never taken a hit from Google. Google has never docked our rankings. Google has never taken a manual action against any one of our sites. Google has never shown a high spam score on any of our sites. And we love that, and especially coming in with GPT. The fact that we can just do everything this way, and we have all the controls in place to do it right, and we can monitor how far everyone scrolls down and what they click on, and we have aggregated stats for that on all the sites that we can download and sort the data, and even have it share best scores and push it back up to the website so that they rearrange elements of their pages to make themselves better, so that more people stay longer and click more things. It's a whole different topic. I'll get into it later. Some of you know what I'm talking about, but our websites are fluid. They can move sections around. They can increase attention on the right things that you want. You can give the pages goals. I don't know anyone who has that. That's something you can't even do with GPT. That has to actually be structurally integrated into the sites. Okay. Yep, pick your weapons. And yeah, get in. And the sooner you get in, the further up this chart you get to be as we keep moving forward and forward and forward and people start finding out what's going on. Most people don't know yet. Haven't really opened the floodgates to the marketing, but getting there, guys. Okay. The best part is that we have so much monitoring in place now, and we have so much control over everything we're doing with every site immediately that no site gets left behind. And the reason that we're starting to market and get attention here is because I want people to start watching us intentionally and knowingly and clearly forcing rank on everything as we go. Okay, it's going to be a blast. This next quarter, say, is going to be an absolute blast. And those of you who are involved are going to feel the benefits. And it's going to be great. Okay, talk to you soon.